Welcome to Comics League Indie Wednesday. I am Jared, and you guys may notice my shelves look a little different because I did a little more reorganizing of late. We organized all the comic books, and there'll be a video about that coming up soon. So today for Indie Wednesday, I'm going to cover, like I said last week, Black Powder, Red Earth, Book 1, Yemen. So this is a really, really interesting book. It's taking place in the modern day. There's no superheroes in this. No one with superpowers, just regular soldiers. And so what this book covers are private military contractors. And what these guys are, they're basically like, think of them like Blackwater in that they're doing similar goals, similar actions as the traditional military, but they're doing it for a private company, which then does it for a country. Like they're providing security, they're even conducting some types of military ops. So that's where this book takes place, in Yemen. So the book opens up with a convoy being ambushed in Yemen. It gets ambushed by insurgents, including some Apache helicopters that get blown up by. The art in this is like really, really, really cool. So it gets blown up. They get ambushed by insurgents, like really, really big. I love all the art in this. This is like fantastic. Anyway, the book, I'm trying to get who is this by? There's no like byline, but it's by the Special Projects Group is what they identify as. Oh, it's by John Shang, and the art is by Josh Taylor. Okay, I had to look in the back. Okay, so the convoy is like completely ambushed and wiped out by insurgents. Now, at the same time, they're being watched on the ISR feeds. What ISR is basically drones, by the Yemeni military and Mr. Salt. He owns the private military contractor company that's being hired by this country, Yemen. So they go, hey, we want to use you guys to resolve this situation. Can you help us out? So Mr. Salt goes, okay, cool. Then we get, then it skips a little bit, and we get some drones and some operators on the ground. The drones are providing a flyby, and like basically they're providing intelligence on the enemy locations. At the same time, for a little bit away, Mobile One is gearing up for action. The teams check in, and they move in on the target. At the same time, a couple of crews break off from the main assault force and set up like machine guns, mortars essentially. Okay, so it's a tube that you put on the ground and it faces upward. Then you drop a shell in it, a specially designed shell. And what it does is it takes off and then it arcs like this and hits the target. If any of you guys have played Halo and you remember the Wraith tank, that's essentially a mortar. Imagine that. So the team moves out, and then the gun crews open up on the insurgents and take them out. At the same time, the operators move in and do a room clearing operation, which just looks really, really cool. What's cool about this book is that during the action scenes, there's barely any talking. And this is realistically, from what I've seen, how these guys would operate. It's not like these guys are like kicking down doors, screaming, go, 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 go. No, they're just being all quiet. And honestly, it was kind of funny. That was like one of the criticisms I saw in this book on Amazon, where they're like, it's too quiet during the action scenes. And I'm like, that's good. That's good. Team goes in, tears them apart. Then they capture a terrorist. And then they take out the structure, and then they move out. They deliver the terrorist to the Yemeni military, and then they just fall out. And then and then Mr. Salt is having a meeting with local leaders, and Salt basically it gives them a briefing on like current terrorist leaders, particularly about how their target Farouk was the architect of the social media campaign ISIS used in Syria and Iraq. The social media campaign they used to great effect to get recruits to cross over from foreign countries, even here, to convince people to go fight for them, which is, I know, really horrendous. So he said, so Mr. Salt is like, hey, we'll take care of this guy. You just got to give us the go ahead. He says, we are aware that Houthis under direction of your Quds force, so it's probably Iranians, is supposed to launch a major ground offensive in the Marib territories. We have intelligence on a concentration of foreign fighters inside the capital city limits, assisting Shafi tribal elders with their organization and plans to defend the city against your attack. We would like permission for an assault force of our men to enter the city and destroy their stronghold. In other words, okay, so we want your blessing to go in and root out these insurgents. It won't be that hard for us. And then essentially it takes some convincing. Then Salt calls up his operators and said, hey, listen, guys, it's go time. So the operators fall out. And while being, actually, this one truck is being escorted by an Apache helicopter. Yeah, well, actually, it's an Apache helicopter being flown by Saudi Arabians. At the same time, Salt is meeting with a friend named Mr. Fix at the same time, and they're talking about this company's mission that was just successful, capturing a high-value terrorist target, which we saw in the beginning of the book. I like how they recreated an iPhone. That's really cool. Then at the same time, they're basically talking about the mission and how successful it's been. And they're basically just talking about the war. I'm not going to go too far into this right now, because the way these normally work is I go briefly through the plot, then I discuss what I liked, what I didn't like, and then I have honestly, this is kind of a comic, but it's related to this. So I'm going to go over this after this. So now what we're talking about here is that Salt calls up his dudes, and they while they're training, and then the guys go, okay, it's time to go to work, boys. They're briefed on their objective, and they fall out, and then the book ends. So that was book one, Yemen. What I like about this book is that it kind of shows off the moral gray area in war, where you have these private companies that, if you read news, there's plenty of research that's indicating that these guys could replace the traditional military. Because let me put it this way, a significant, before we pulled out of Afghanistan, a significant amount of our troops were contractors, as far as I believe. I believe so. In fact, it's been estimated that we're starting to rely more on private contractors over traditional military. So I find that's interesting how this book kind of stays topical. Now, what this book is called the Hyper Notes. This is basically a lore book on like the organization of the company, it's the organization of the company, what they do, and I'm going to go over like the book here. We have some art on like what the soldiers look like, what gear they use, what roles each member of the squad breaks into. So it's very much a lore book. Here's all the weapons they use. I'm not going to hold this up to the screen because I don't know if YouTube is going to demonetize, is going to take down the video. They show the vehicles, they show the drones that they use. And then it also picks up the little story. So I'm actually going to go over the story. So let me go to here. In this, you have a group of operators from this company. I'm trying to remember what was the name of the company. Let me see. It is called Cold Harbor Adjunct Partner Group. As a party, born from the end, it's an the commanded world commission officers. No, that's not what this is. So basically, it's called Cold Harbor. So Cold Harbor operators are driving toward a target. Their objective is to just take out terrorists. That's it. They're driving through the city streets. Once they stop, they deploy drones, and the drones fly over the target to provide like reconnaissance on how many enemies are on target, where they are. And then the troops stop, all the guys pile out and then just move out. And then what's interesting, what's actually really cool, is that the team actually has like drones that will fly at a guy and then blow up. In other words, you have like one of those remote control helicopter like things that's just packed with explosives, and they just fly that into the target and take them out, or at least weaken the target. The target building, take out guys that could possibly stand a threat, like snipers, machine gunners. The team does a door breach, moves in, proceeds to completely annihilate targets in the way that special operators are so good at. More drones and take out targets. The drone operator goes, okay, so we got some guys running away. At which point the drones further deploy and take out what would I call squirters. They're essentially guys that are running. Operators move out, could continue clearing the target. And they burn the house that they were attacking. And at the same time, they take out, I believe they take out the trucks, do they? No, at the same time, they blow up the building and fall out. So it's basically just a one thing. I found that to be really cool. I very much enjoyed that part of the book. So, I don't know why my watch came off. But, so one of the things I really like, and those of you that know me know that one of the things that I'm very geeky about, in addition to the comic book, to the traditional comic book stuff like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the like, I'm a big like nerd for all things military. So when I first got into comics, I checked out this series because it seemed like a good combination of two of my passions. And I will say I was not disappointed. This is really cool. I definitely like how the soldiers are like quiet when they're clearing buildings. There's no like breach the door, go. It's all just calm, quiet, and collected. Everyone's slow because slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And then the way, again, this addresses like current modern day issues in warfare, like the emphasis on using contractors over traditional military. Definitely like adds a little bit of like authenticity to the storyline and just makes it a fantastic plot. So anyway, that is Black Powder Red Earth Volume 1. Let me know if you guys like this storyline. Maybe we'll do more of them. And in terms of Indie Wednesday, we have plenty of books to go through and plenty of reader suggestions that we're going to go through. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I will see you guys next week as we cover more indie comic books. Anyway, stay heroic, everyone. Bye-bye.